Hey there, it's Elisa Kazarowski, and we are back in this video to dive into our very first strategy for building strong connections with students. And strategy number one is simply know their story. What do I mean by that? Well, first off, know what their preferred name is and how to correctly pronounce it. As you may have gathered, my name is not the easiest name to pronounce. Uh, Neither my first name nor my last name. And so this is something that I go through life knowing that most people are going to mispronounce my name. And it is interesting to me that many people don't even ask. Um, some people will and say, "Oh, I won't even attempt your last name." But most people mispronounce my first name as well. And I will correct them. But most people don't even ask, right? This is so important because we need to make sure that we know what kids want to be called and we're pronouncing it correctly. It's such a core piece of who our kids are. And so as a teacher, if I came to those names or when I came to those names that I didn't know how to pronounce, I would just say, "Oh, okay, I'm not really sure how to say this one, guys. Last name is Saunders. Can you help me out with the first name?" Uh, and just asking gives them that autonomy, right? That empowerment to say, "Yeah, you know what? This is my name. This is how we say it." And I'm showing that I care enough to ask. This is a big one, especially coming from somebody who this is the story of my life, right? Um, we also need to make sure that we are greeting kids. Use their names when we greet them as they enter our classroom at the beginning of the class session, at the beginning of the day. Make sure they know that we are glad that they're coming into our classroom, into our building. Um, Somebody once said to me, maybe the first time they heard their name said in a positive manner all day. And that's really stuck with me. That was true for a lot of my students, that until they got to school, maybe nobody was saying their name in a loving, caring way. Asking questions, right? Asking questions constantly and then remembering their answers, writing them down, sticking that information in our back pocket, right? So that we can follow up with them later on. Using what we know to tap into their background knowledge to help make those new neural connections. We talked about this in the first video. And then the last is a very specific strategy called the 2 by 10 conversation strategy. Please don't get hung up on the numbers. Make it 2 by whatever, if you want. But the idea is that we are taking those kids that maybe we only talk with them about school or behavior, um, especially behavior, right? Finding those kids, identifying them, and then making a point of talking with them for 2 minutes every single day for 5 days, 10 days, however long you choose, about something that has nothing to do with school or behavior, right? So we are intentionally talking to kids about their hobbies, their interests, their families, the football game that was on last night. I don't care, it doesn't matter. But it can't be about school or behavior because for these kids that we're identifying, that's sort of the only thing we ever talk with them about. It's usually their not so great behavior and the fact that they're missing, 42 assignments or something along those lines, right? So we need to be intentional about getting to know them and really listening, even if they're talking to us about things that we don't really care about, right? We have those kids that talk incessantly about video games or Pokemon and trying to find some sort of common ground with them. So knowing their story is all about getting to know the real them, right? And sort of cracking that outer shell open so we can get to the heart of who they really are, what makes them tick, and put those pieces of information in our back pocket that we can pull out and ask questions about or follow up with them on so that they know that we see them, we're listening, we care enough to ask those questions. All right. I'll share our next strategy in the next video.